As Hanukkah is now over, it's time to deliver what I think is the meaning of Hanukkah for all peoples, Jewish and non-Jewish. Often it's thought that Hanukkah is just a holiday celebrating the Jews' victory, lopsided victory over the Romans when the Romans were trying to prevent them from practicing their religion. It was an amazing military conquest. It was hard to imagine. The same way that Ukraine is fighting a lopsided war against the tyranny of Russia right now. But it's not really just about a military victory. Hanukkah is a very metaphysical holiday that, if you think about it carefully, will change your life. Hanukkah is about miracles, that when they had only enough oil to light like a candle, as they used in those days, for one day, it actually burned for 8 days. It was God's message to us that miracles don't cease, and we're living on borrowed time. And every night when we light a new candle, going up to the night, finally, of 8 candles, every night, by lighting that candle, God is reminding us, helping us to remember living really on borrowed time. It's absolutely amazing when you think of the miracles that we've been through, and I don't want to forget them. How many times we've been saved in our own personal life. Joan, when we were just married for less than a year, she should have drowned at Resurrection Bay in Alaska off of the coast of Seward. But it didn't happen. She was saved. I almost drowned kayaking in fifth-degree waters where I never should have been kayaking with Bud, and I really should have drowned, but I was saved also. When Joan flew into a mountain paragliding, and you would think she wouldn't have survived, fracturing all of her ribs and all of her thoracic and cervical vertebra and her jaw, and having a concussion and surviving without being paralyzed. That was an amazing miracle. And the most amazing miracle was when Steve was just 2.5 years of age and he was kidnapped. And in the getaway car, the police were chasing and firing bullets in a machine gun-like fashion at the car to try to stop the car. And the car was riddled with bullets, and they finally shot out all the tires, and the car crashed. And not a single bullet hit Steve. And he was saved in a way that was totally miraculous. You couldn't have imagined this happening. And Steve surviving as a Marine, the invasion into Kosovo, which he had to lead actually. Joe almost dying of heat stroke when we were hiking with him when he was just a little infant in Arches National Park in the summer. And in fact, Joe even surviving childbirth, where he had a very rare true knot, not just a winding around the neck, but a true knot of the cord that was choking off the blood supply to the placenta. I can go on and on. When we had a forced landing in Australia and survived that forced landing, which some might describe as a surviving crash, and even our fear in those early days of our marriage of Vietnam and going off to Vietnam, all these fears and that we got over, all of these threats to our survival, were miraculous. It's statistically too hard to imagine this being anything but these things being happenings being anything other than a miracle. And so Hanukkah is given to us as a very spiritual and a very, very special metaphysical holiday where every day when we light a new light, we realize we're living on borrowed time. I mean, I am living into my 80s, and nobody in my family ever lives past their 60s. Nobody in our family history ever lived past their 60s. And I'm still strong and vigorous, but that might end tomorrow for all of us. Even if you're in your 20s or a teen or a child, that could end at any time. And it's a miracle that we're able to survive, that we only have enough oil for one night, but yet we can actually survive and have light for 8 full nights of Hanukkah. That's symbolic of all the extra time we must feel fortunate and grateful for that we've been given by Hashem. That's my brief Hanukkah sermon that I think should make you realize that this is not just a holiday of spinning dreidels or Hanukkah gelt or having parties or just of celebrating an unusual and unexpected military victory of the underdogs, which of course we're praying for Ukraine to be able to do with Russia. It's also a very, very spiritual moment where we get to remind ourselves by lighting the candles that we are living on borrowed time and we should be grateful for every single day.